The birth of a tsunami. To grasp why tsunami wave heights matter, we must first understand their origin. Most tsunamis result from undersea earthquakes along tectonic plate boundaries. When the ocean floor abruptly shifts, massive amounts of water are displaced, sending waves racing outward in all directions at speeds that can exceed 800 kilometers per hour. Unlike wind-driven waves, which have short wavelengths, tsunamis are characterized by their immense wavelength, sometimes hundreds of kilometers long. This allows them to travel across entire oceans with little loss of energy. In the deep sea, a tsunami wave may only be a few centimeters to a meter high, making it nearly invisible to ships. But as it approaches shallow coastal waters, the wave slows down while its energy compresses, forcing the wave to grow taller. This shoaling effect is why a seemingly harmless wave in the open ocean can transform into a towering wall of water at the shoreline. Measuring tsunami wave heights. Tsunami heights are measured relative to sea level and reported as the vertical distance between the trough and the crest of the incoming wave. However, the devastation a tsunami causes depends not only on its height but also on its run-up, the maximum vertical height the wave reaches above sea level as it rushes inland. Run-up can vary drastically based on coastal geography, slope, and obstacles. A 2-meter tsunami striking a flat, low-lying coastline can be more destructive than a higher wave hitting steep cliffs. Thus, while numbers matter, context is everything. A tsunami's height is the most visible marker of its power, but the true devastation lies in how far inland the water penetrates and how much energy it carries. Deadly but deceptive. At first glance, a tsunami wave of 1 or 2 meters may not sound terrifying. After all, beachgoers regularly encounter waves of this size while swimming or surfing. The difference lies in the wavelength and volume of water involved. A normal ocean wave may carry a few cubic meters of water, while a tsunami of equal height can push millions. A 1-meter tsunami can easily sweep people off their feet, carry away vehicles, and destroy small structures near the shore. In fact, many recorded deaths have occurred from waves of this size, particularly among those who underestimate their force. The 2010 Chile earthquake generated tsunamis of under 2 meters in some regions, yet these still claimed lives and caused significant property damage. These smaller tsunamis often catch people unprepared because they do not look like the cinematic walls of water imagined from films. Instead, they resemble sudden, violent floods that surge inland, carrying debris with them. Their devastation level is typically localized, but for those caught in the wave, survival is far from guaranteed. Regional disasters. When tsunami heights reach 3 to 5 meters, the level of devastation increases dramatically. Waves of this magnitude are capable of sweeping away entire neighborhoods, flooding farmland, and crippling local infrastructure. Wooden houses collapse under the pressure, cars and boats are hurled like toys, and escape routes can quickly become impassable. The 1993 Hokkaido earthquake in Japan generated a tsunami around 3 meters high, which destroyed fishing villages and claimed hundreds of lives. Similarly, in 2018, a tsunami triggered by an underwater landslide following the eruption of Anak Krakatau in Indonesia reached around 4 meters. Despite its moderate height, it killed over 400 people because it struck without warning in the dead of night, overwhelming resorts and coastal communities. At this level, devastation is regional. Towns can be erased, economies destabilized, and recovery can take years. While not as globally infamous as mega tsunamis, waves in this range demonstrate how even moderate tsunamis can devastate human life on a tragic scale. National catastrophes. When tsunami waves rise into the range of 6 to 10 meters, their impact shifts from regional to national crises. Such waves are powerful enough to obliterate entire cities, sink large ships in harbors, and penetrate kilometers inland on flat terrain. The most infamous example is the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in Japan. In some areas, the waves exceeded 10 meters in height, with run-up heights reaching over 40 meters in specific coastal inlets. The devastation was catastrophic. More than 15,000 people died, entire towns were reduced to rubble, And the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant suffered a meltdown that triggered a global rethinking of nuclear safety. At these heights, tsunamis are not just natural disasters, they are historical events that reshape nations. Infrastructure such as roads, railways, power plants, and ports can be permanently altered or destroyed. Economies can take decades to recover, and collective trauma can last generations. Mega tsunamis. Though rare, tsunamis that exceed 10 meters in height belong to the category often described as mega tsunamis. These are the stuff of nightmares, waves that can exceed 30, 50, or even 100 meters under the right conditions. Mega tsunamis often result from massive landslides or volcanic collapses rather than earthquakes. The 1958 Lituya Bay event in Alaska is the most famous case. A landslide triggered by an earthquake generated a wave that reached an astonishing 524 meters in run-up height, scouring mountainsides and obliterating everything in its path. Fortunately, the remote location meant relatively few casualties. While such extreme waves are rare, they highlight the upper limits of what water displacement can achieve. If such an event were to occur near a populated coast, the devastation would be unimaginable. Entire cities could vanish in minutes, and millions of lives could be at risk. The human experience of tsunami devastation. Numbers and measurements tell only part of the story. The human experience of a tsunami is one of sudden terror, chaos, and loss. Survivors often describe the initial warning signs: the ground shaking, the sea drawing back to expose the seafloor, or a roaring sound like a freight train. Then comes the water, relentless and merciless, carrying everything in its path. The devastation levels correspond not only to wave height, but to the human toll: lives lost, families separated, communities displaced. A 2-meter wave can traumatize a village, while a 10-meter wave can reshape the destiny of a nation. What unites all these experiences is the sheer helplessness of confronting a force so vast and uncontrollable. Preparedness and mitigation. While humans cannot stop tsunamis, we can mitigate their devastation. Japan, for example, has invested heavily in early warning systems, seawalls, and evacuation drills. These measures saved thousands of lives in 2011, even though the disaster still claimed many. Public education campaigns stress the importance of recognizing natural warning signs, such as receding water lines and moving quickly to higher ground. Countries around the Pacific and Indian Oceans now maintain networks of seismic sensors and ocean buoys that detect tsunamis and issue warnings. However, the effectiveness of these systems depends on geography and response time. For coastal communities located near subduction zones, minutes or even seconds may be all they have. Tsunami wave heights in historical memory. Throughout history, tsunamis have left indelible marks on human civilization. Ancient stories from Japan, Indonesia, and the Pacific Islands speak of great floods and waves that swallowed entire lands. These myths often preserved practical knowledge. Live near the sea, but respect its fury. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which killed over 230,000 people across multiple countries, was caused by waves that in some places reached 30 meters. Its impact was global, not only in human lives, but in international cooperation, disaster response, and awareness. It was a reminder that tsunami devastation levels are not merely academic measurements, but realities that affect entire civilizations. Unpacking tsunami wave heights and devastation levels shows a spectrum of destruction, from deceptively deadly 1-meter surges to city-erasing 10-meter floods, and the almost unimaginable scale of mega tsunamis. Each level carries its own dangers, shaped by local geography, preparedness, and sheer luck. Tsunamis remind humanity of the ocean's dual nature, a source of life and a force of destruction. They are humbling events that challenge our sense of control and demand respect for the natural world. By understanding their heights, their science, and their history, we not only improve our chances of survival, but also deepen our appreciation of the fragile balance between humanity and the sea.